penicillin from? Okay, that's a mold, a blue-green mold. You need to know that one. Definitely, definitely. There are others you'll need to know as we go on and on and on. But while I'm here, I may as well tell you this one. We'll watch a movie next Thursday. Because then it's Labor Day weekend. So we can like relax Thursday, take it easy, get ready for a nice long weekend. Next Thursday is, I don't know, September 1st, I think. Labor Day weekend is that weekend. Friday the 2nd, Saturday the 3rd, Sunday the 4th, Labor Day the 5th. So don't come to school Monday. I won't be here. This building will probably be locked. On your list under Protista, under Phylum Mastigophora, know that one cold. That'll be on every single test. Sexually transmitted protozoal disease. There are other STDs or bacteria and viruses. This is the only one that's protozoal. All right. Yep, you're munching on your cells and tissues. Okay, so anyway, when we watch the movie, we'll go over a bunch of this stuff. I was going to save it for that, but whatever, I'll tell you now. Because in the movie, they talk about parasites and how you can track parasites. There's different ways you can track parasites. You can eat food that has it in them, or drink water that has parasites in it. Or you can get a vector-transmitted parasite from, let's say, a bite of some kind. Or there's even one you can get by sexual transmission, and that's the one, Trichomonas vaginalis. And it's flagellated. I'll show you a picture of it pretty soon. Okay, I just remembered what it was I wanted to cover very quickly. Easy stuff. Okay, remember microbiology is defined as the study of cells and structures and organisms too small to be seen with the unaided eye. But we said, okay, we'll look at them, but we'll also look at pathogens like parasites and tapeworms that are pretty big and can be seen with the unaided eye, right? Okay, good. So, within microbiology, there are many arenas. Some people specifically go into like genetics and molecular structures or study mitochondrial DNA, or that's all considered microbiology because it's really small. But for our course, because most of you will be going into a healthcare field, we actually focus more on pathogens and the diseases that they cause. So, with that in mind, we're going to just list a couple of different subdisciplines of microbiology, but it by no means is all the subdisciplines of microbiology. It's just the ones that are a little more pertaining to what we're looking at, the pathogens. So one subdiscipline of microbiology is virology, which would be, of course, you know, study of viruses. And what kingdom are viruses in? Good answer. No kingdom for viruses, because viruses do not fit the classical definition of life. So they're not classified like other living organisms. However, when you get to the point where you're going to make your virus list, you'll see that they actually imitate the classification scheme for living organisms and try to apply it to viruses. So they actually give viruses things like family names and genus names. But it's not exactly used the same way. So viruses, no kingdom for viruses, not considered living things, not classified the way that other living things are classified. Okay, bacteriology. That's what we're going to do in the second portion of the semester, study of bacteria. What kingdom is that? Good. What domain? bacteria, she says sheepishly. There's another domain that includes bacteria. What's that one called? Archaea, good. Where am I most likely to find human pathogens? Domain bacteria, right, absolutely. Okay, another subdiscipline is parasitology. I actually worked for a parasitologist when I was in graduate school the first time. Dr. Grasmick did a lot of work on malaria. He's like probably dead by now, and if he's not dead, he's probably like 80 or 90 years old. So you have to imagine for his career, that was like 50 years ago. And malaria was even a problem in this country somewhat. So he studied malaria a lot and tried to eradicate malaria-carrying mosquitoes in areas of the country where he lived, which was the Midwest. And he also worked with the World Health Organization, and malaria was a big deal then. And some of you might actually remember DDT. Anybody remember DDT? Okay. So parasitology can involve the study of parasites. Could be protozoal parasites, and that would be protozoology. And because Dr. Grasmick studied malaria, he actually was a protozoologist. And then there's also helminthology. What's that the study of? Worms, good. And another kind of a parasite, it's funny to think of it as a parasite, but it actually is a parasite. Fungi are considered parasites when they are parasitic on you, when they're feeding off of you, and they're benefiting and you're being harmed. So mycology is the study of fungi or molds. When you see this MYC, that's usually telling you, and you'll see as we go through the semester, it can tell you a bunch of different things, but in many cases it's telling you molds. So when you see MYC, sometimes it is a mold, or they thought it was a mold when they first discovered it, or something like that. Mycology is the study of kingdom fungi. And then there's one that's a little bit confusing, so don't mix them up. Whoops. Phycology. Phycology is the study of algae. And remember we said algae can be 3 different kinds of organisms, 3 different kingdoms. Anybody remember the kingdoms that contain algae? Planta is one. What was it? Monera, good. What's the other kingdom that contains algae? Protista. Protista, good. What are, in Kingdom Monera, what are those algae called? Hey, what'd you do to Judy Klein? Or is she Tuesday, Thursday? You know, you make me think of her, that's why. What's her name? Yeah.
Tiffany. Tiffany.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, her in the front.
Lil.
Lil.
Yeah.
Hey, Lil, I'm Judy. There's another lady named Judy Klein, and when I look at you, I think of her. You kind of have the same kind of
So she doesn't dye her hair.
an
Is
aura.
that it?
Yeah. You just have a similar aura. That's what
Okay.
I'm seeing. So when I look at you, I'm like, where is she? Because she sits right next to you. She sits in that spot right next to you. Yeah. Same thing with like, where's Rails back? Is Rails back in this class? No, it's the other class. She's another one. She's like, I said, when do you look so familiar? She said, because you had my sister over the summer. I was like, isn't that funny? Because you're sitting in the exact seat she sat in. Wow. Anyway, so what's the name of the algae from Kingdom Monera? Anybody remember?
Cyanobacteria?
Good job, cyanobacteria. Want me to write it up? Oh. Cyanoblue bacteria. Some people call them blue-green algae, but the more scientific term is cyanobacteria. Good job, so that was a good little review, wasn't it? Okay,
Can I ask you a question? I know K is kingdom, what is the
domain.
domain?
So you just needed a little refresher, you're like, oh yeah, that. It's okay, you're at that point in life where you can blame it on, you know, your age. Okay? That's what I do, I'm like, yeah, well, you know, get forgetful as you get older. Because the file cabinet's already full, see? Stuff's spilling out all over the place. Okay. Now we're going to, this stuff is covered in chapter 1 actually, believe it or not. And now we're going to do some more stuff in chapter 1, which I actually think is very much fun. I hope you're not going to be bored to tears.